Hello and welcome to Enjoy English School.
欢迎来到 Enjoy 英语学院。
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Laurie.
Today and tomorrow, we are looking at our business English lesson. We're going to talk about learning international business etiquette. That's etiquette just means like manners. M-A-N-N-E-R-S. Business 方面的礼貌。
That's right. 所以呢，这个来到我们商用英语的单元，今天跟明天这2天的对话里头呢，我们会来看到中文的标题叫国际职场的礼仪指南。那其实就是像英文的标题讲的，来学习一些国际商业的一些礼仪那这个商业当然就是我们翻成更恰当的话，就是职场上的一些礼仪所以呢，在我们的对话里头呢，大家可以一起来看看，如果以后用到的话，就不要犯了这些这个小错误的地方。
Learning International Business Etiquette. Dialogue A. John and Ariel are chatting at the office.
Are you ready for the big conference tomorrow?
I suppose so, but I'm a little stressed.
How come?
Well, trade representatives from all over the world will be present. I have to try and do some business with them, and I'm very worried about making a terrible mistake.
Is it because you don't speak their language?
No. No one expects me to be able to speak any Chinese, Japanese, or Arabic, but there could be other problems.
Like what?
Cultural etiquette. You know, when something polite in one culture is considered very rude in another.
I've never thought about that. Can you give me an example?
Sure. In Taiwan, it's not common for people to make a lot of body contact when they first meet. In the US, however, it's normal to pat someone on the back and give handshakes.
That's true. I always offer my hand in greeting.
In Arab countries, it's common for men to hold hands.
Wow, that's very different from our culture.
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm anxious.
Don't worry, I'm going to look up some more etiquette differences tonight so that we can go over them before the conference.
Okay, great.
Okay, in our dialogue today, we have John and Ariel. Ariel, like the Little Mermaid.
小美人鱼。
Yeah. Disney 的 Little Mermaid 叫 Ariel.
对。
Yeah. So
是想怎样？
Okay. All right. So on the first day, on today's lesson, John and Ariel are chatting at the office. They're just having a little conversation.
所以我们来看到今天第一天的对话呢，它的场景的设定是 John 跟 Ariel 2个人呢，在这个办公室里头聊天。
So John says, "Are you ready for the big conference tomorrow?" Yeah, if you're in business, there are often like conferences.
Lots
Right?
of conferences.
Yeah, and a conference is like a big meeting that lots of people go to.
所以呢，这边的话呢，一开始 John 他就问他说：“你准备好什么什么事情了吗？”这是 Are you ready for 后面接一个 something 所以你准备好要来应对明天的那场大型的会议了吗？所以呢，这边看到的这个 conference 指的就是会议，而且通常它是指比较大型的那如果我们平常讲的一些比较小的，我们可以说 meetings。
Yeah, just a meeting. But at a conference like this, a business conference, this could be like lots of companies from lots of places all meeting together. And then they have little meetings and they share ideas and maybe they have some work training. And so it's a place for businesses to kind of connect together and learn about what people are doing.
所以呢，这边讲到的话，就是这种大型的会议，我们称它为 conference。那它在这里面可能有很多不同的企业啦，或者甚至来自不同国家，像我们对话里头的然后他们可能聚在那边会交流，会做一些事情，会做一些交易，然后可能会开一些小型的 meetings、小型的会议等等。好，所以呢，你就记得大型的就是 conference。
Yeah. Ariel says, "Oh, I suppose so, but I'm a little stressed. I suppose so is the same way as saying, I guess so. It just means, yeah, a little, and I'm stressed. So I am ready, I guess, but I'm really stressed about it.
对，其实这里应该不是 a little 哦。
Like, are you ready for the big conference tomorrow? Oh, yeah, I guess I am, but I'm a little stressed. This is also 一种 exaggeration. She's not a little stressed, she's a lot. So it's under exaggeration.
所以呢，这里的话呢 ，Ariel 他就回答他说，我想是吧。这里的是吧指的是说 I'm ready 哦，所以他先讲 I suppose so， 然后可是他就说 but， 但是又要一个转折嘛，所以这里才会用 but。但是我呢，其实有一点这个压力哦，所以这里的 I'm a little stressed， 这里的 stress 本来它是压力的意思哦，然后这里用一个 be 动词搭配一个过去分词，形容他一个现在的状态，我感到压力哦，而且呢不是一点点，其实，所以刚刚 Steve 老师说的，他是夸大的相反哦，就是呢，他把他呢好像感觉讲的比较不在意
Yeah.
可是其实他是蛮有压力的
Yeah. So now John says, how come? How come just means why?
为什么哦，就是
Yeah.
怎么会呢？哦，为什么有压力呢？这样
Ariel says, well, trade representatives from all over the world will be present. This is also very formal. What she's saying is there are going to be trade representatives from all over the world at this conference.
对。所以呢，首先，当然 Ariel 就要来解释他为什么会有一点压力。所以他说，这个嘛，哦，这个贸易的代表们哦，所以这里的话呢，这里的 representatives 这个字比较长哦，它本来是 represent， 就是代表这个动词，然后衍生出来的，变成是名词的代表们，指的是这些人哦。所以除了这个贸易的代表，而且是来自世界各地的贸易代表呢，都会出席。这里的 be present 就是会出席，会在这样。
Then she explains. She says, there will be trade representatives from all over the world there. I have to try to do some business with them. And I'm very worried about making a terrible mistake. So this is probably her first big conference.
有可能哦。
This is probably her first time. She doesn't know what to do. She's afraid of making a big mistake with people from around the world that you want to do business with. Maybe you need to do business with.
所以呢，这个确实有可能像 Stevie 老师猜的，这个是 Ariel 的第一场大型的这种国际会议啦哦，所以他说我呢必须要试着呢跟他们这个 them 就是指呢那些代表们do some business， 跟他们做一些生意，谈一些生意。而我呢，非常的担心，叫做 I'm very worried about something 哦，就是担心什么事情。什么事呢？ 就是 making a terrible mistake， 会犯下很严重的或很糟糕的错误。
And then John says, is it because you don't speak their language? Are you worried because you don't speak the languages they speak?
然后 John 呢，他就猜测，所以他说是因为你不会讲他们的语言吗？
And Ariel says, no. No one expects me to be able to speak any Chinese, Japanese, or Arabic. So she said, no, it's not really the language because nobody expects... So here, Ariel is probably a Westerner,
有可能
right?
对
She's probably a person from an English-speaking country. And she says, no, I'm not worried about language. No one will expect me to be able to speak Chinese or Japanese or Arabic. No one expects that from a person like me.
没错。所以呢，这时候呢 ，Ariel 就回答他说不是。不是因为我不会讲他们的语言，接着他继续进一步的讲说，没有人期待我要所以这个 expect A to do something 就是呢，期待这个 A 呢会去做某件事，所以没有人期待我要 be able to 能够呢 speak 说任何的中文、日文或是阿拉伯文。
But there could be other problems. I'm not worried about language problems, but there could be other problems.
然后他就进一步的讲说，但是有可能有其他的问题呀，就不是语言的问题呀。
John says, like what? What do you mean? Like what other problems?
对，然后 John 他就不懂，所以他就说像是什么呢？所以这里的 like 不是喜欢，是像像什么问题呢？
So this next word that she says, this is a phrase, I guess. This is really important to know if you're going to go into business, any sort of international business. This phrase, he says, what other problems could you have? And she says, cultural etiquette. This is a proper phrase. Cultural etiquette. This means that different cultures have different manners, okay? And some things you can do, like, for instance, if we're both American and, you know, I know you, I've seen you before, and I shake your hand and I say, hey, how are you doing? And maybe I pat your shoulder,
That's
you
right.
know, while I'm chatting with you. That's okay if we're close and we know each other.
That's right.
But if you were to, even somebody who you're friendly with from another culture, that might be too much touching, or you might not want to do that. Some cultures, like Thai people, don't touch their head. You know, there are a lot of cultural etiquette rules that you have to pay attention to if you're going to do international business.
没错，好，所以呢，这里的话呢，Ariel 就回答了，说是一些文化礼仪那这两个字，刚刚其实 Stevie 老师用了一些例子，已经把它说明了，就是有一些文化上呢，来自不同的文化，一些可以做跟一些不能做的，所以是一个规则就是 rule， 就是你可以用这样子去想它。那有些能做，有些不能做。那其实如果你要做international business， 就是国际的一些这个贸易啊，一些国际商业的行动的话呢，其实你知道这些东西是蛮重要的。
Right. And then she explains, you know, when something polite in one culture is considered very rude in another. So something polite in one culture is considered rude in another culture. Like in some cultures, burping out loud while you're eating is very rude. In other cultures, that is a way to tell you that the food is wonderful. And so if you don't burp, they might think, oh, they didn't enjoy the meal. So you have to understand that.
对，所以呢，接下来呢，这个 Ariel 就举例子，他说，你知道比如说，所以他这边在举例了嘛。当呢某个事情在一个文化里头是礼貌的，可能会被认为，这里的 be considered 就是被认为是在另外一个文化里头非常的粗鲁无礼的所以这个就是他的想要表达的这个文化礼仪的意思。
We're going to take a quick break now, and we'll be right back with the next part of our dialogue. Okay, we are back, and Ariel just talked about cultural etiquette. And she said, you know, some things that are polite in our culture may be rude in another culture. And John says, oh, I've never thought about that. A lot of people don't think about that.
对。所以呢，这里的话 ，John 呢，他就是像这个从来，他表示他可能没遇到过所以呢，他说我从来没有这个想过这件事情，我从来没有想过这个会有什么这种不同文化的差别。
Yeah. And now, actually, the example we have is one that I just did with you.
对。
Ariel says, sure. He says, can you give me an example? And she says, sure, I'll give you an example. In Taiwan, it's not common for people to make a lot of body contact when they first meet. So if they first meet, they don't do a lot of touching each other, right?
That's right.
You don't really touch people you don't know. So that's the first one. She said in Taiwan, it's not common for us to do this.
所以呢，这个 John 他继续就跟这个 Ariel 说，你可不可以给我一个例子啊？你可不可以举一个例子，在英文里头你可以这样说。然后呢 ，Ariel 就说当然可以了哦，他就举了例子，他说在台湾这件事是不寻常的、不常见的 ，It's not common。什么事情呢？后面继续讲 for people 让人们呢，怎么样的人们 ，when they first meet， 他们第一次遇到的时候呢，去 make a lot of body contact， 去做很多肢体上的接触，在两个人刚遇见的时候，这个是很不常见的，我们并不这样做。
In the U.S., however, it's normal to pat someone on the back. Now, this is not like pet a dog. You're not like, oh, that's nice. That's weird, okay? But if we go, hey, Laurie, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you doing? Because we know each other, that might be okay.
That's right.
I should have asked her, was that okay, Laurie?
Yeah, of course.
So it's normal to pat someone on the back and give handshakes, of course.
所以呢，他接下来继续讲到，但是如果在美国的话呢，所以这边有一个然而这个有一个转折出现嘛。然而在美国的话呢，这件事就是很正常 ，normal 是正常。什么事呢 ？To 后面告诉我们，就是当你拍拍人家的后背，或者是当你跟人家握手的时候，这些事是正常的。
Yeah. And now John says, oh, that's true. Yeah. So he didn't think of this before. But now that she talks about it, he says, oh, that's true. I always offer my hand in greeting. So to offer somebody is like to say you're going to give them something.
对。
But to offer your hand in greeting, that's common, to shake hands, right?
对。
Well, it was common before COVID. Now maybe we'll say, I offered my fist or my elbow.
对，好换地方了。OK， 所以 John 他就说这倒是真的就是呢 Ariel 刚刚讲的这两个文化的差别，然后他就说呢，我呢在打招呼的时候 ，in greeting 是打招呼的时候呢，我总是伸出我的手，那意思就是我总是会跟人家握手。
In Arab countries, it's common for men to hold hands. Like men who are friends, even older men. It's very common to hold hands with their friends.
所以呢，他接下来自己讲到说，这个Ariel 就讲到说，在阿拉伯国家来讲的话呢，男人们手牵手也是很正常的。
And John says, wow, that's very different from our culture.
所以 John 就说了，哇哦，那这真的是跟我们的文化非常不同啊！A is different from B 就是呢 A 跟 B 很不同。
And she says, yeah, it is. It is very different from our culture. That's why I'm anxious. She could say that's why I'm nervous, but anxious is a little more 焦虑。
对。
Right?
不安。
Yeah, nervous would be 紧张, but
对。
if you're anxious, then that is
就是更焦虑不安。
Yeah.
有多了那个感觉。
Yeah.
所以呢 Ariel 他就说，对呀，确实是这里的 it is 刚刚 Stevie 老师已经讲出完整的句子，就是它是跟我们的文化很不同但是他就简单回答 it is， 然后接着他就说，这是为什么我这么的焦虑不安的原因呢
Now John says, don't worry. I'm going to look up some more etiquette differences tonight so that we can go over them before the conference. So I'm going to look up something. Now students might just say, I'm going to Google it. Okay.
问谷歌大神。
But I'm going to look up something, and I'm going to look up some more etiquette differences, like things that we need to look out for. I'll look those up tonight, so tomorrow, before the conference, we can go over them. We can look at them and check.
所以呢，这个 John 他蛮有这个建设性的，我觉得哈。所以他说别担心我呢这个今天晚上呢就来 look up 是查或者是去搜寻所以呢我来查多一些的这个礼仪上的差异 所在。So that， 然后呢就可以这样，怎样呢 ？We can 的后面告诉我们，我们就可以在会议之前呢、go over them， 就是好好的来这个看这些礼仪上的不同之处。
And Ariel says, "Okay, great."
Yeah， 所以呢 ，Ariel 当然说太好啦，这很棒哦，所以这个是很有建设性的一个 solution。
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and look at our words and phrases that we learned today. And then we'll come back tomorrow and find out if John found any etiquette differences. All right? Okay, the first vocabulary word that we learned today was stressed. Don't be stressed. You'll be okay. We also learned representative. To be a representative of somebody or something, an organization or a company. Also, expect somebody to do something. We talked about rude, meaning having bad manners. We also talked about pat somebody on the back, or pat somebody on the arm, pat somebody on a part of their body.
That's right.
We also learned the word anxious. Don't be anxious, relax. And we learned the phrase look up, to look up something. And then after you look it up, you're going to go over it. You're going to check what you looked up, check what you learned. We'll learn more of these and find out what happens tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.